Hey everybody! Hope you're enjoying your day. I'm going to go on and invite a few people out to join us. Gonna tap, 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 tap. That's what I'm doing as you all are coming in the room. Hey everybody that's joining. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Sounds so corny, but I'm going to get started in just a moment. Hey, thanks for joining. When you join, just let me know, because sometimes I can't see everybody and I'm just going through and inviting, because we have a busy world and many of us have notifications we don't know about, we can't see, etc., etc. So I'm just inviting some of our sisters to join us today. What y'all doing over there? It's been a doozy of this full moon. How about that? Let's talk about that full moon before we go into this, because this actually will place context around so much of what has been coming up. I probably could have named it empaths and their love, sex, and money, but we're going to stay focused on the money, because at the end of the day, it's all energy. It truly is all energy. So, all right, I think I'm done inviting. Found another little spot that's so beautiful. Okay, all right, I'm gonna go on and get started. Hey everybody, hey, good people. So happy to join you today. It's been a full week. Boy, since last week, there's been so much coming up, and I'll be honest with you, as one who really studies this and stays in touch with the moon cycles and all of the things that are coming up astrologically. Normally I am able to catch some of this. I'm preparing for this, but I'm gonna tell you, this particular Capricorn, this particular Capricorn full moon really caught me by surprise. And how I caught up to it, I don't know about you all, but I caught up to it in my body. So in my body, I literally last week, I wasn't feeling great, and it didn't feel like illness, it felt like energy. Can you relate? Can you understand what I'm saying? You can feel something and it doesn't feel great, but it's not illness, it's some type of energy. But if you don't handle the feeling, the energy can become illness or something else. And so this particular full moon brought up so much. I had so many people who have been saying, I was crying for no reason. So many people who've saying that they felt overwhelmed and they felt tension for no reason. Some people were telling me that they had some very rough menstrual cycles. And so what I'm going to go into our relationship with money. Those of us who, even if you're not an empath, you probably have an empath in your life and in your world. But I love it because feminine women, women on the feminine journey, and I do, and let me make a distinction when I say, and you don't ever hear me say feminine women often. Because you can be oh wow, you ended up in the hospital. That's the kind of energy that is still present. Because remember, the moon is full 3 days before you start to experience the effects of a full moon. 3 days before its actual fullness, and 3 days after. So that would have been yesterday. So now we're going into the waning moon. But guess what? We're 2 weeks away from another eclipse. 2 to 3 weeks away from another eclipse. What we've entered is this cycle of clearing. So what happened is last week, because Capricorn moved into the moon, and there were other planets that were also in retrograde. I don't want to really get into all of them right now. But Capricorn is the opposite sign of Cancer. It's Cancer's opposite. So even if you don't have a particular aspect in your chart, you always are using all 12 energetic houses of the chart. Okay, so you don't have to, so the moon was stationed in Cancer, right? You don't have to be a Cancer to feel the effects of it. You don't have to be a Capricorn, but yes, they are polar opposites. That's why we felt the intensity of this Cancer full moon, because first of all, full moons are about releasing and letting go. Cancer governs the home, family, emotions, mama issues, parental issues. And so this particular one was about ancestral energy as well, because Cancer governs that. Capricorn is really about getting your business in order. So your emotional business, and that's a great segue for us to talk about money and empaths, because a lot of people were feeling what was already there. Okay? In other words, when a baby is born, a baby is brought where? Home. You bring a baby home. Even if we go into the spiritual philosophy of where we come from, as far as us choosing to be here on earth and to experience the earth experience and all of that, we still are brought to a house. Well, that house was functioning before you were born. Okay? And so that was the energy that many of us are sometimes, we're channeling that particular energy, not even knowing it. So in other words, when it comes to ancestral issues, if you will, you can feel them and not be aware of the details of the issue. You can feel the weight of whatever is going on, that was going on for years and years before you. And that's a great segue to talk about empathy as well, because the whole world, basically, I won't say the whole world, I would say that the planet is going through a phase of hello. Thank you everyone who's saying hello, 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 hello. The whole planet is going through a phase of awakening. No matter what corner of the earth that you are in, many of the people, the indigenous people who have been subjugated to go asleep, if you will, are now reawakening. And don't make no mistake about it. In this body, in this experience, it may, wherever you are on the journey, it may feel like you are awakening. But it's better to say really that many of us are reawakening, because we are ancestors' return. Their unfinished business sometimes falls on us. And so this particular Capricorn full moon had a lot of people really on the brink of depression. I know there were days last week I could not get out of the bed. And I made a deliberate attempt, because the solution is the opposite, right? You got to access the opposite. Cancer energy tends to feel it, hold it, marinate in it. Cancer energy does not let go that easy. Okay? So Capricorn was at home, was visiting home, the Cancer's house. Capricorn does not hold like that. They have to move. They have to do something, right? And so that's what that moon was inviting us to do. Even though I feel this way, I have to get in motion in the opposite direction. What happens is when we feel things, sometimes we give more energy to it because we accept it as truth, rather than asking what What information are you bringing to me? Why am I feeling this? The first thing, a lot of times when we feel something we don't want to feel, we run from it, we shut down, we project it onto other people. We may blow up, or, we get depressed, and we start blaming it on the food we're eating. We start talking about, I shouldn't have had that brownie. I shouldn't have had this. Oh, maybe I drank too much. Maybe I stayed out too much. We go on to what's happening as if it's happening in our own strength. That's the hack. None of this right now that's happening on the planet, a lot of these things, it may look like there's somebody in control, but there's so much more going on the earth right now. Now, that being said, when we talk about love, sex, and money has a big charge. I cannot tell you how many people I talked to who were anxious about money. I'm talking about some of your more successful people entrepreneurs, people who have good jobs, so to speak. They were feeling the energy of just tired. I'm tired of struggling. How did I get here? That type of thing. Now, here's the thing when it comes to empathy and money. Last week we talked a little bit about empaths and what an empath is, how an empath functions, and that type of thing. Now, when I say that in this awakening that's happening on the planet, it may not look like we are awakening because humans have become so passive. We've accepted so many things that have been handed to us as a normal. So this survival mode that we live in, this fast pace, it's not natural. This busy all the time, it's not natural. The disconnection that we have from our families, it's not natural. It's not normal. I don't care even if it was in your family. You're only looking at your generational experience. But beyond your generational experience are other generations who had no choice. Now there are generations who had no choice, but then beyond that are generations that chose well. They had a choice. Many of us are still functioning in our relationship with money, with love, with sex, as if we don't have a choice. And many of us made decisions a long time ago in our world based off of, I don't have a choice. And what do you think that feeds? It feeds more of the sludge in our emotions and in our ancestral line. Okay? Now, I'm here to say that you do have a choice. A lot of people are using the articles that they're reading on empaths. It's new information to some, but I want to propose to you, particularly melanated people, that really empathy is normal. Empathy is normal. Being gifted and genius, that's normal. I want to say that again. Being gifted, because being an empath is a gift. But when you don't know and you've been so far away from generations and generations of understanding who you are and who you are, not in relation to this individuality. Individuality is it has undermined our society. I'm not talking about the freedom to express your individualism, but in this whole thing around mine, me, and all of that, really it's very, very new to us. So this whole thing where we go, look at any other people. When I travel to Costa Rica, and any of you who travel to third world countries or have gone to places, hell, some people can argue that you could go to some counties in Mississippi, in Maryland, and you would think that you are in a third world country. Some people will argue that. But just for the point of pushing it a little bit further away from our emotional connection to it, when you go visit some other places, how is it that people who have less, materially at least, they seem to have so much peace, and they're still happy. When I was in Costa Rica, and even Panama, Nicaragua was in the worst financial condition in that particular corridor. And of course, when you went to Nicaragua, you could feel, I'm from Mississippi too, sis, by way of New Orleans. I always got to claim New Orleans home as home for me. But when you look, and in Nicaragua, you could go to Nicaragua, literally cross the border, and you could feel the energy beginning to shift in Nicaragua from Costa Rica. And when we would get to the border in Nicaragua, the desperation was, you were met. The hustle, it was on. The hustle was on. You had to watch yourself. And honestly, if you wasn't with a group, you were vulnerable, right? So you came in contact with people who had been living in economic depression and what it looks like and what it feels like, right? But here we are, when I come back to the US, we no longer know what it is. Our children, many of our children think that the way to get food is at the grocery store. Now, mamas, some of that's on us, because we haven't taught our children how to grow food. We haven't taught them where food comes from. They don't know anything about killing or skinning a chicken, because maybe we would eat less meat if we had to go hunt for it. If we had to go skin it. Because I don't know, I did grow up in an era where my grandmother still had a bountiful garden. That's abundance. That is abundance. And now, not just having a garden is abundance, but farming is wealth. And look at how this country has treated their farmers. So now you have a generation of people who would be insulted if you tell them to go to school to study agriculture, to go to school to study engineering. Go to study something that will help you build a nation or sustain a community, right? Because many of us started to believe I'm not good in math, okay? So now we're setting up a relationship with the numbers, okay? Now I'm gonna go a little spiritual. Let's go a little spiritual. I'm getting back to it. I'm getting back to our relationship with money, but I want to connect, show you how it's all connected, right? Then we go to church, or we go to school, or we get programmed now to things like numerology is witchcraft, right? We get programmed on the things that our people use to be able to be in relationship with their wealth, with their abundance, with their health, and with their gifts, their energetic knowing, Because many of us good girls and good girls gone goddess, we went to school. We were taught how to follow the rules, follow the plan. We were not taught how to use our inner knowing, how to connect with nature, how to see, how to cultivate ourselves. Now we have children who may be empathic. They're star seeds, they're millennials, but they have no conflict resolution skills. Right? Come on now. Am I? Let me see. Somebody said privilege. That's a good word. Privilege. That's a good word. Privileged. That's a very good word. Privileged. Because what happens when privileged people cannot connect with their privilege? They don't see it as privilege. See it as entitlement. Right? Now, I look at what's happening on the planet and I feel what's happening. How many of you can relate to that? How many of you can relate to when you start to wake up and you realize that you've been lied to about everything? Now, depending on your point of entry, You may listen, you may have entered into truth through love. You may have entered into truth through your health. You may have entered into truth through your hurt feelings, your heart. You may have entered into truth through being abused by our religion. You may have entered into truth just by being a seeker and a knower who asks questions. It doesn't always have to be pain that made you could have just been curious, a seeker. Some people are born seekers. I'm one of them. Now, listen. Here we go now. The planet is being disrespected by man. Everything is a living organism. Even the plants are empaths. The animals are empaths. If PJ Cannon, if you're watching, she did her own fruit test where you take the apple, you cut it in half, you say the worst things to one half of the apple, you say the best thing to the other half. The half that you say the worst things to, it begins to rot quicker than the one that you preserve. Oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, you're letting off such a fragrant smell. Look at you. You're so plump. Oh, look at the juice flowing from you. That one lives. This planet is going through a major transition. People who are asleep right now, they are dangerous to the planet. And some of them are successful and they have beautiful titles and they give out bad advice. But empaths have this other knowing. Empaths have a way of being able to feel it. But one thing that we've been misinformed about empathy is that it always has to be us, the victim of someone. And so we use empathy sometimes to justify not handling our shit, not handling our ability to make a new choice. And so we'll pay attention to what is not working, and we're just like that apple that's cut in half. The empath is just like that apple experiment that's cut in half. Because the truth of the matter is, you may go to church and shout, "Oh, hallelujah, oh, oh, oh." You do all of that. But if you still get in your car or you go to bed at night and you have not cleared the root, the ancestral stuff that this, see, I'm bringing it home, this ancestral energy, the root issues, the family patterns, the predisposition to believe that poverty and lack and that this way of being is normal. Or the opposite, where we've been introduced to the reality culture where people are doing anything to get likes, follows, to become reality stars, and then only they get the contract, they get the deal, they get the exposure, but they still got their issue. Empaths, oftentimes, as I learned about myself as an empath, I was able to see even the bravado of my own mother. Bravado. Because some of us as women are walking in so much bravado that we have not been able to access the gift of being an empath because we're so focused on managing the false notion that you have to be strong, or that I shouldn't be feeling this. Where I am is not where I'm supposed to be. But if you look at your relationship and money, I'm going to wrap it up with money. The key thing is empaths cannot take it personal. An empath cannot. One of the things, the things that we have done when it comes to money, and I know that I've done it, is based on how the mistakes we made, what we didn't know, maybe even if we wild out, whatever the case may be, we will start to judge ourselves and connect that whatever's happening with my money that is happening with me. Now, let me say this now. Money is my own natural energy yield. So you're never disconnected from money, right? You're never disconnected from this whole thing of money. Money is not the paper. Our money conversation starts on the inside. And I swear to you, I know that some people don't want to hear that. And that's why you'll go and you'll be attracted to the person who's manifested the Mercedes, the house, the car, they have all the followers. That we get drawn into that. And I'm not saying that it's not sexy. It is. It's very sexy. But when you listen to each and every one of them, one of the things that they had to do is make a choice. And I know I've been there. I have lived a very good lifestyle. I was young and I didn't know what I had and how to manage it. And that was a lesson to me. So when I started making new choices for myself and how I wanted to manage my energy, my own natural energy yield, I looked at how many things were connected to money. And I want you to do that. How many choices do you make that are connected to having it or not having it? How many choices have you made about even your love relationships? Because the truth is, y'all must know how many sisters that I get a chance to talk to who made decisions to around safety and security through choices that they made. Maybe it's the job, maybe it's the person that you married, but it's choices. Now, if you were able to choose that well, if you were able to choose for yourself in survival mode, what happens if you chose from the place of fullness rather than lack? Well, it starts, my beloved, when we feel it. The second point is, as women, and most women are empaths, because particularly if you're a mother, you know, that sense of being able to feel what's going on and feel something. Now, every emotion is not necessarily the truth. And some of our feelings are based on poor habits of thinking. I'm going to say that again. Some of the things that we feel are not empathy. It's patterns of thought that feed our synapse and sinews information that really has nothing to do with the present moment. Some of the things that we are feeling has everything to do with something we haven't processed or cleared before. And so now we're making more choices on top of that. More choices on top of that. But let me tell you, I'm going to close out with this. You can play with choice. Choice is not something that you make based off of evidence. Choice is something that you make based off of truth. Choice is a declaration, a move, an affirmation. It's a habit. It's a way of being based off the truth of who you are and how you have decided that you are going to show up as an energetic match. So when my bank account may not match the fact that I am wealth, then what do? Do I start to follow the path and make choices only based off of my bank account, or wait until my bank account reflects more zeros before I show up as worthy, before I show up as willing to have fun or learn, before I'm willing to discover that there is an answer for me beyond my what I have in my money, in my account? Not asking for help, not asking for information, shutting down, closing off, being arrogant and assuming, because some of the way we're showing up in our relationships, we're not showing up as empaths, we're showing up as warriors. But oftentimes that whole bravado is overdeveloped because you don't know how to manage that sensitivity part of you, of ourselves, not just you. No, you don't make the choices. You don't wait till the evidence shows up to make the choice. You make the choice so that the evidence can begin to show up. You make the choice so that the evidence can begin to show up. So now, am I going to feed my depression about the state of my finances, or am I going to finance my faith? Am I going to finance the truth of who I am in this awakening process? Now, if you haven't awakened, then that's the requirement. What is she talking about, this awakening? What is she talking about, awakening? Am I awakened? What is she talking about, consciousness? What is she talking about? That is the choice moment right there. When you hear something, hey sis, when you hear something that you don't understand, instead of making a choice, oh, that's over my head, that's too deep. That's a lack choice. That's a lack-based choice. Now, some of you will say, okay, I'll show up for my child. That I ain't gonna let that happen to my child. I ain't gonna let that happen to my mama. But then what are you gonna do for you? Empathy and being an empath is not an excuse to be a victim. It is not an excuse to accept the defeat. Many of us are so easily defeated when it comes to love, sex, and money because we have not cleared out messages that already caused us to fail. If you believe that you're a sinner, if you believe that you can't trust yourself, if you believe that money is the root of all evil, if you believe all of that, then the scripture says, unto you as you believe. Because at some point, you have to make a choice that belief no longer works for me. And honey, I encourage you at this broadcast, do a belief inventory. Start with money. Every choice that we've made around not doing some things with money. Sometimes we're not taking care of ourselves because of the money. I tell on myself, hell, it's been so many times when I assumed I can't do that because I don't have it. Well, guess what I got? I got more of not having it. And every time I made a choice outside of my comfort zone, how in the world did I access a resource that I didn't even know was there? And sometimes the resource is not going to come through your strength. Sometimes your resource is going to come through your creativity. Sometimes your resource is going to come through your ability to say, ouch. Sometimes it's going to come through you going and fellowshipping with a new group of people. Hell, come on now. A new group, a new teacher, a new language, a new way of being. I guarantee you, one of the reasons why when I go back to my hometown, I feel like a foreigner. But that ain't wrong. Because in many ways I am. And that's okay. Because I don't do small talk well. Y'all know me. Y'all know. I love to have a good time. I love to play around. I love to do all that. But I'm not going to sit around and be talking about no problems for too long without looking for some kind of solution. Come on, I know I'm not in here by myself. Being an empath, no matter how much you've been hurt, no matter how many mistakes you've made, whatever you didn't know, the invitation when it comes to wealth is nothing but choice. How do you know, Latanya? One, because I have been a have and I've been a have not. And now I am so free from having based off of the external. Because if I have had it, I've lost it, I've gotten it again, and I've given so much away. Some of us are so wealthy. We got so much stuff, so many things. We always going to get a sale. I got broken from all of that by choice. The law wasn't running me or chasing me. I chose to leave America. I chose my rites of passage. I chose my initiation. And sometimes if you don't know what wealth looks like, if you only seen your mama get up and go to work, then you got an employee mindset. And if you don't want to have an employee mindset and that lifestyle looks good to you, then what does it take? Who do I have to be? And that not just one time, not just one affirmation, not just one prayer, not just one getting in the mirror one time, not one conversation. If you're married, you know what I'm talking about. If you're married, you know that you got to have conversation after conversation. You got to revisit it. You got to get to the altar. You got to get in your face. They say in the church, they used to say, get in the face of God. But see, in the church, they teach you that getting in the face of God is doing something outside of yourself. But baby, when you get up in your own face, I have been learning some things about money that I did not know even as over 30. I didn't know as a 30-year-old. Come on now, am I by myself? Drop in the comments some of the things that you have learned about money, that if you had known that, you may not have chose this or that. Come on, drop in there. Drop in there if you had known some things about money. Because look, don't just look at me. Drop it in here as a deposit. Drop it in here as an abundance. The reason why I tell y'all to show up, the reason why I say share what you've been experiencing, because we've been used to taking. I want to go and I need to go get a word. But sometimes your abundance will come by you giving a word, releasing the word of your testimony, because you will bless somebody else. And you may not know that you've been blessing somebody else, but you do it because you're letting the idea go, the blessing go, the release go, so that it can come back to you. What if you had known? Let me tell you what I would have known. If I had known what I know now. I probably would not have beat myself up to around college, finishing college. There was something in me as an empath that I love learning, but sometimes I don't like the confines of a school. Everybody's my friends they call me Reverend Dr. Latanya. Some of them call me Dr. Taylor. And it used to make me uncomfortable, because I thought that they was really trying to push me to go back to school, and some of them were trying to push me to finish to do my PhD. And I have to tell you that you know, I've been to the mountaintop. I've been to the mountaintop. I've seen some things, and I have some things in perspective. All right, I love it. Y'all dropping some good stuff. I'm about to call this stuff out. But if I had known, I would have grown a business. When I first got married, I was 19 years old the first time. I married an entrepreneur. He tried to teach me, but I resisted. I fought. No matter what task you might have dropped in these comments, I want you to look at how you fight for new information when it comes to you, especially if it's so new outside of your comfort zone. Anything that you've been wanting, I guarantee you, I bet it's been around you all along, all the time. If we would get off of our high horse, if we stop living behind the veil, if we stop protecting things that do not protect us, and I'm talking about the church, the school, the state, the government, they don't protect us. And so we have to learn how to be sufficient. I would have made some other choices. But now, when I was a child, I spoke as a child. And now that I'm all grown up, I have put away some childish things. Not all of them. But, cancel but. My relationship with money, with business, it is rebirth. It has been rebirthed. And I want to drop your comments in here real good, okay? And then I'm going to close out. I'm going to tell you some things in just a minute. Some solutions. I didn't come just to stir your pot, right? When I come, I'm coming just to get you to think a little bit, ladies. Okay, so we're talking about putting music to plants to help them grow. I say put some music to your womb, help yourself grow. Ha! If you put music to the plants, put some music to your womb. That's what that particular Capricorn energy was also inviting us to do. It didn't say go try to figure it out. It didn't say go shut down. Literally, the recommendation, the ritual was to dance. Go dance off your shackles. Go dance it off. Many of us try to think our way out of a situation, and sometimes it's not your thoughts. Why do you think the scripture says, your thoughts are not my thoughts? Your ways are not my ways. Y'all think that that's some kind of elevated such a muchness, superiority-ness. No, God is greatness. No, but you are too. Okay, let me fix my face. Choice isn't something you make based on evidence. Yes, thank you for quoting me. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm sorry for the squint. I don't have my glasses. But I got some coming. Okay, y'all are just reprocessing some of the things I said here. Belief inventory today. I feel you. I'm the same way. I go home. Okay. Employee mindset. Who do I have to be? Yes, absolutely. Who do I have to be in order to have what it is that I say that I want to have in this lifetime? And not only this lifetime, what legacy am I setting up? Because who set up a legacy for you? Come on now. I'm getting all in your face. Who set up a legacy for you? Because when I came back from Costa Rica, I was real clear. I said, oh, baby, I got to put some things in place. I got to put some certain things in place, baby. Okay, who set up a legacy for you? Come on now. How many of you can go to your family if you want to start a business? Huh? Who set the legacy up for you? Okay, come on now. All right, so here go the lessons. Invest more than and consume less. Saying the word broke, that would be something you would change. I can make money off of innate skills, not always running to school. And say that, Cecil Edwards. I can make money off of innate skills, not always running to a school. And my skills are vast and worthy. Yes, say it, sis. Neon B. Jarvis BB says, it's not just how much you can make, but how much can you keep? Not only that, not only how much can you keep, can you make your money work for you when you are doing something else? Because if you're trading time for dollars, that is another form of slavery. Okay, Dana says, if I had known how to invest in gold instead of paper, I would have been able to finish college and have had my own house earlier. Girl, you better say that. You know, I was just getting to the goal. I'm getting to it, Dana. I'm getting to it. Okay, Mal Young says, invest, save early entrepreneurship. Early entrepreneurship. How many of us are teaching our children this? Okay? Do you know that my girlfriends, they don't say much during the day on Facebook because they're homeschooling their children. And even some of the juicy butterflies. We have some juicy butterflies who are graduates of my Rites of Passage program who are homeschool advocates. They're not only homeschooling, but unschooling. I've been thinking so much about unschooling because many of us have been so educated that we are paralyzed because we have everybody else's thoughts inside of us instead of being taught how to work with our own. Chester says, if I had known about money, I would not have fought for my own limitations. Girl, you better say that. She said, if I had known about money, I wouldn't have fought for my limits. Ooh, that's good right there. Monique says, if I had known to be more grateful, to share more, to not be arrogant, and to live within my means, to invest. Girl, you better call out some of us. Because when we get some money, we'll go spend $1,500 for some hair. Not me. I mean, not really. I'm not throwing it in nobody's face, but I really don't understand that hair thing. I don't. I've done my share of things, but my genetics just wouldn't let that stuff stay on my head, you know. That's a part of being an empath too, by the way. When you have a people who are sensitive, who are grounded and connected to the earth, when you have a people doing all these unnatural things, you basically are cutting off your antennas and your ability to communicate with the divine in the way that's natural and organic. So we have a lot of GMO human beings, okay? Everybody around here is not in touch with who they are, and they're comfortable being GMO. With eating synthetic foods, being synthetic people, wearing synthetic clothes, wearing synthetic hair. Sorry if you got a weave and you watching this, but it really is that level of choice. That level of choice to let yourself come in into yourself. I'll keep going because you know I'll teach some more. If I had known how to be more grateful, to share more, to not be, okay, you already said that. Canceling the word bro, Carol said that. Shopping is a default program. I would have invested so much in self instead of buying clothes to make me look good. Okay. Yes, I don't want y'all to beat up on yourself. I literally want you to reposition yourself. I would have traveled and saved money. I would have been grateful and paid my bills on time. Now see, Tressa, that's the game. The game is now, because I didn't pay bills on time. See, first of all, we skipped the step of how out of order and criminal it is to come and offer credit cards to people who are in college. Why would you offer a credit card to a child? So listen, there's a lot of games being played on us psychologically that start the pattern to make us feel like we're inadequate when it comes to money and money choices. And so then we start talking about budget. Budgeting is it's a lack conversation. I got to talk about that later. Okay, y'all, I want to keep this video very, very short. I've already gone over. Dana says, if I had known to not rely on credit, I would not have been in this debt system. Whew. Now we're using terms like debt system, but basically this is a debt-based planet. Unless you begin to make conscious choices to have a new line of information as regards to money. So a lot of the traditional things that we've been taught about paying our bills on time, it actually keeps us in a form of human, I don't know another word, bondage. Okay? Colonization. How about that? How do y'all like that word? We're very colonized in our relationship with money, and that grates against the soul of an empath. Okay, do y'all get that? Very colonized in our thinking about money. And so really, I'm really being literal here. We have to revisit everything that we've been taught and reevaluate it. And you may not be able to do that all alone. I have not done that all alone. Risha says, education is great, but it's not required for financial success. Hallelujah. My dad, peace and blessings upon him, he told me, he said, I want you to, he said, you know, get your education. He said, but don't just get your education, get a skill, get a trade. And I remember when I took a break, I left Southern for a little while, and I went to hair school. How many of you knew that about me? I went to cosmetology school. Well, I did that because of the advice of my daddy. I was pretty good with it. I enjoyed doing hair, playing with hair. I was always doing hair. And I went to cosmetology school. Now, I didn't finish cosmetology school because of that empathy thing. I didn't like that feeling of what was going on the salon floor. But that's another story for another day. Tressa says, I would have paid my student loans. I have not gotten all the extra financial aid and blown it. Oh, I didn't have financial aid to blow. I would have been an architect. Oh, I'm so glad that you put a dream deferred. Because the moment we started to defer some of the things that we really wanted to do, that's also when survival mode started for some of us. Okay? Mao Young says, Ma Ya Wong. I want to slow down. Am I saying it right? Cash and carry, not credit, purchases are getting buried in debt. Okay, all right. Music to the womb. If I had known about my real connection, I would have saved more and spoke well to it and not against it. not waste so much of it. Ashe. Okay, I get it. I get it. I want us to okay, I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. Tressa said I would have started a legacy for my children and my grandchildren. Shawnee says I would have been I would break ancestral curses. Yeah. Yep, okay, good. All right. Now listen. I'm going to close out. This is just an invitation. We had a very successful Amplify 30. In fact, this is the 30th day of starting Amplify 30, where I taught on the temptation to quit, right? I was moved in that, and I created a spontaneous process, and some of you all said a spontaneous yes, and some of you all have had tremendous shifts. While I have been delaying and messing around, that's also a conversation of lack. Hesitation, procrastination. It's a conversation of lack. And for an empath, it makes you start feeling bad and not trusting yourself. You see the relationship, a thought, a habit, and then it feeds the empath's belief about themselves until you interrupt it. An empath has to constantly interrupt, by choice, not force. Because when we're forced to interrupt, then we feel even worse. But when we make a choice to interrupt how we have been relating to those tender areas, those trigger points. I'm going to talk about triggers next week. When we do that, the ladies in the Amplify 30 made a conscious choice. We made a conscious choice together. We created another group of women who are saying, I'm committed to my process. If you want to switch up your relationship with money, and look, this is a perfect conversation if you have felt like you have wanted to work with me, but you didn't have the money. Some of you haven't had the time. I'm going to be introducing a process that really is inspired as well, but very well planned and thought out, full of bonuses for you, where you will pay yourself first. The money is not for me. I want to give you access to a way to work with me, shift your mindset. I'm going to, in a monthly masterclass, okay? It's not, this next masterclass is going to be on money, and I might do 2 sets, but those of you who join in this space on money, for money, and you open up your own account to begin to pay yourself first, I'm going to give you the way to do that. We're going to start on August 1st. I'm going to give three more weeks, right, to actually get yourself set up. I'm going to help you set up and get yourself in position to begin to interrupt the habit of associating yourself with struggle and survival mode by saving, paying yourself first, okay, in a non-traditional way that is not taxed, that is a way for you to access real money. Now, some of us have been listening to these traditional people who are teaching us, who downplay the relationship with gold. They talk to you about money, but they never come to tell you that most of us are operating on promissory notes, not real money. If you are interested in paying yourself first, you want to work with me, I want you to go to bit.ly/MyGspot. My G spot. And the G is for gold. Or it can be for gushing, or it can be for great. But it's always for goddess. And so we're going to come together and really shift and really set up a plan to begin to save. You must have an account to pay yourself first in order to participate. The other option is that you can pay to be in my membership. So there's going to be levels. There's levels to this shit, okay? There'll be options, right? I've created a membership space for those of you who are consistently saying, I'm all in for nurturing yourself on the journey. We're going to go with money. The next one, the series I'm going to do is the power of the P. And so we're going to talk about this purpose, this pleasure, and this passion as it relates to our men, our mama, and our money. That's going to be the third part, or excuse me, the next few classes in the series. The next thing we're going to do is social media and money. Like literally, it's going to be working sessions for us to be able to translate this into the areas of love, sex, and money. I'm starting with money. Okay? The first level is you can just be a member. For $29 a month, you can be a member. You'll be a member, you'll get a monthly masterclass, and you will also get oftentimes you'll get a workbook and some other supplemental support. If you come in what I call the Succulent success level, I'm going to offer the mentorship to you, plus you are going to get more bonuses. So I'm in partnership with my sisters who are teaching about Bitcoins, gold, and I'm doing the mindset and the feminine business model. That's all of that is coming up in the subscription series. The feminine business model, money, alternative investments, setting it, forgetting it, passive streams of income, how you can make money in your sleep. These things to get you in position. Can't y'all tell I'm melting out here? I ain't mad. I just wish I had on less clothes. So we're going to kick it off on August 1st. Go to bi.ly, my G-spot. You will see that there's a description for the G-Force. Okay? And so I'm inviting you to finish strong for this month starting now, given everything that we have been experiencing. I'm telling you, the next eclipse is going to be intense because we're in an intense year. This is the year of motion and action. You got to get in action around things that have been your issue. You cannot just think about it anymore. You cannot just talk about it anymore. You cannot just cry about it and whine and complain and be a victim about it anymore. That you have to do like this Capricorn came into Cancer's house and upset the apple cart, and still is. And this whole one vibrational year is about setting up the next 8 years. You understand what I'm saying? We just came out of a 9-year cycle. Now we're in another one. So now you're setting up the next 8 years. So listen, we're still going to do our work, our supplementals here. They'll be, but we're going to go into detail and really workshop it and mastermind around this. So please join this space. $29 for membership. We're going to get into detail. I'm going to help you set this up. You're not on your own. I'm going to answer your questions. All of this good stuff. So please join us. I see those of you who are saying, I'm all in, I'm all in, I'm all in. I love you for that. I love you for that. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. For hearing. Because if you were not fertile ground, the seeds that I have planted and put out there would have fallen, and they would have either just sat on the stony ground, they would have gone into the shifting sand. But if you feel fertile, if this is what you feel like you are ripe for, then you got to come and plant your own seed in your own ground. And then I'm going to teach you how to till the soil. Because let me close out with a testimony. I set up my gold savings account, I don't know how long. And then I started traveling, okay? I forgot about it. I didn't forget about it. That's not completely true. I got busy and I could not give it the attention, but I kept my account. The account costs you nothing. In fact, everybody watching, even if you don't do the $29 membership or the Succulent Success Level membership, where you get the bonuses and you'll be able to have access to the Bitcoins training and also to the I don't, what is Sabir calling? Dana, what's the name of Sabir's training? Even if you don't do that, you still can open up a free account, and you can open up accounts for your family as gifts. For instance, instead of giving my nephew, I was gonna frame. He pledged Alpha. I was gonna frame his letters or whatever they give him. And I got the quote. I said, "Oh no, I will open up a gold savings account for him, because he'll be able to do something with that." For me, I am sitting on money that I didn't even have to work for. This is not about multi-level marketing at all. And even that is a fear that has been negatively programmed, but it is also a tool that can teach people who don't have generational wealth how to shape their mind around business. But we're not doing multi-level marketing here, so rest assured that's not that. I will share more with you who get in touch with me. If you have questions, email me. I love you all, and there is nothing you can do about it. Whew, I really intended to be shorter today. But if you have any questions, inbox me your questions. Go look at bit.ly/mygspot. And just check it out. If you're ready, just jump on in there. The instructions are there. I did my best with the instructions. Stayed up all night trying to get it in place. But I'm open for any questions. I love y'all. I'm going to let this breeze wash over me. Ciao, everyone. Have a great day.